Hey guys, today I'm looking at Splinter Cell Double Agent. So this is a very kind of weird game. This was, I think, a cross-gen game. It was on the original Xbox and also 360. I'm not sure about the original Xbox, but it's definitely on 360 and how I played it. This was a odd game for a lot of reasons, simply because from the trailers, what we were shown, it had a very different tone, and this is also the first time they took a big risk and a big change in Sam Fisher's character and the entire world of Splinter Cell, where essentially what has happened is that Sam is now working as a double agent. So he shaved his head, he has a whole new look, and he's joined this terrorist cell in the United States, posing as one of their agents when really he's still working for Third Echelon. And so I felt like there were a lot of things that felt like, I don't know, kind of a backtrack, or like this felt like a step down from the Splinter Cell Chaos Theory. It felt like in Chaos Theory, like the graphical style just looked better. Everything looked very smooth and interesting, and the weight of when you hit guys with your knife felt better. And sometimes this game really chugged and really struggled on the 360. I don't know why, but I just got the feeling that the frame rate would dip like in certain places that, and as someone who I don't really care about frame rates, it was in my mind very noticeable, more so than it should have been. And so a lot of this game just feels, I don't know, very very different. And the other big thing they also did with the teased in the trailers is that at some point Sam is going to have to come to a choice point where essentially Lambert gets captured, and he just choose whether or not to execute Lambert in order to complete his mission or not. And so it's one of these big moments that they kind of build up in the trailer. And so that's one aspect of this game as well, is that at certain climaxes of each of the levels, you have to make a decision whether or not you are siding with this terrorist organization, the JBA, or Third Echelon. And so, there are certain actions you could take where it's like, yeah, I'm helping the terrorists out. And then there's certain actions where it's like, I'm really actually helping the terrorists out. I'm actually siding with them. And so it's an interesting combination of to see where Sam's loyalties lie. Again, from the trailer, I also got this very different vibe where Sam, in the trailer for this game, Sam basically had like a hobo aesthetic, so he kind of looked like, I don't know, Alan Wake almost or something. Like he kind of had this disheveled hair, this like a leather coat, and he almost looked like a hobo, and it was kind of like he had been abandoned by Third Echelon, and now he was like almost in a Grand Theft Auto scenario. And it showed him in this like little market downtown, and him kind of shuffling around, like planting an explosive on the side of like a container. And it's kind of like Sam has gone rogue, and the NSA and every other agency is now hunting him down for some reason. And so it wasn't really a double agent vibe that we got initially, but it was more like a rogue agent vibe, that he's been totally betrayed and sold out by his country and his organization, that he goes off on his own. And this is more the vibe we kind of see in Conviction, but it's not quite the same. Anyway, so that completely was kind of thrown out, where Sam is again now bald and shaved. And how the game really starts is he meets one of the contacts of the JBA as he's placed into prison. And so they basically have planned a jailbreak together and get out of the prison, and Sam joins up with the leader, Emile Dufranc, who essentially has a vendetta against the United States. And so you get this other really new cool mode where you have kind of like a sim kind of thing, where you go to the JBA headquarters and you're there in between each mission, and you have a certain time limit to talk to people, interact, do sort of side jobs like assembling mines, and talking to other people and making decisions on what you say to them that'll influence your relationship with the JBA versus Third Echelon. And again, it was just a really surprising aspect that I didn't expect to see in this game that was present in it. In this game, there's not one single place. You go to Iceland, you go to the Congo, essentially. You go kind of all over the world, and getting certain pieces of intel, and it all kind of climaxes at the end of the game, with Sam's final decision, whether or not he's going to destroy Third Echelon and felt like he's been sold out, or if he's going to, side with Third Echelon and defend them and take down the terrorist cell. Again, I really can't put my finger on it exactly why I don't like this game as much as Chaos Theory. It feels not quite as smooth. It feels the atmosphere is maybe a little bit off. I'm not really sure what it is. It feels a little bit, I don't know, kind of all over the place because you're going out to these different locations. And the whole double agent like aspect doesn't really play into it a whole lot. Yeah, you make these few decisions, but most like levels play out exactly the same. And again, it's just kind of this cheap karma meter where they're like, oh, okay, are you a good guy or a bad guy in this game? How far will you go to finish your mission? That kind of thing. But everything really is just kind of scripted, and it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. But yeah, in terms of Splinter Cell gameplay, really in Conviction, they completely reinvent the entire thing. And so this really feels like an in-between game where it wants to be an action game, but it's not quite there yet. So it's still trying to pretend to be a stealth game. And so it's somewhere in between. But this is the last game where it has kind of, the old style of Splinter Cell gameplay, still very much similar to, Chaos Theory, but again, has its own kind of vibe and style. Yeah, another thing about this game that's very cool is, again, you can choose who to side with, and that'll kind of depend on the ending of the game. And so you can totally, take out, if you're basically sold out and betrayed by your own agency, that kind of moves against Third Echelon. And basically now it becomes more of a government conspiracy, which leads into Conviction, which are there are multiple government agencies that are kind of cannibalizing each other. And so you were actually on the docket to be betrayed and liquidated anyway. And so now you suddenly have to make a choice as to if you actually side with the terrorists against the people that have tried to sell you out or not. Another thing about this game that I guess is relevant is that it just feels very short. There's only like roughly 10 or so missions, and it just feels generally shorter than the other games. And it just felt like it had a rushed development cycle. And, even though the characters, I think despite all that, the characters are pretty well written and pretty interesting. There's 4 main JBA members that you have to develop relationships with and learn about and end up coming to know on a much deeper level. But yeah, I don't know, this game is the less good Chaos Theory, but it is the last true stealth game in this series. Definitely not the best, but not bad either. Anyway, guys, with all that being said, I think I'll leave it there. See ya. Bye-bye.